I guess with Andy, I always had hoped that, I guess in a project like this, that it would never be a woe is me. Andy's got all these issues and oh my God, look what he did. He overcame all this. But no, he came from a little different spot than probably would have been ideal and maybe typical. But he has grown, and he has grown into this absolutely wonderful human being and adult.
He's just a friend, in a sense. He's just, like I say, he's one of the guys.
You can see through his expression, through music, through conversation, through, his work ethic when he gets into the weight room. There's more to him than what he's showing you on the surface.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
What does that one smell like?
Kind of smells like a rose.
Well, it is a rose. You got it.
Jonathan's bride, Ruth.
He starts doing his play-by-play or, reminiscing about something that you have no idea what's going on, except, it's in his head, but it's real to him. It's so real to him in the moment that it's got to come out and he's got to share it.
And the pitch. Bing, swing, and I miss, strike three. Some going to Margaritaville and a guy singing there. I sang along with a Keith Urban song with him, in the Andrew Jackson Boathouse place. And there were some guys and girls singing country songs there. The Lord be with you and with your spirit. And let us acknowledge our sins and have mercy for forgiveness. You were sent to heal the contrite. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. He came to call sinners. Christ have mercy. Christ have mercy. You were seated at the right hand of the Father. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. The Almighty God have mercy on us. Forgive us our sins and bring us to everlasting life.
Well, Andy, what is it that you like about going to Mass?
Oh, well, sometimes the priest could be by himself. Sometimes when we say that I confess, and then the priest and the deacon would be together, and they would take turns of gospels. There's the priesthood gospels. The deacon would read the Holy Gospel, the priesthood gospel, and then the priest would preach it. And then sometimes when there's a deaconal gospel, the deacon can do it all.
St. Paul, who the church is named after, said that some are given as pastors, some as assistants. That's the way it is that everybody's pulling on the rope in the same direction, and that was my impression of Andy. He's one of us.
Yeah.
He is somebody who gives generously and loves the Lord and enjoys being a parishioner here at St. Paul's, don't you?
Yep. There's a new parishioner, Phil, who is 40 years old, and he's a bachelor, just like me.
Never knew the meaning of amazing grace. Brought me to my knees, put a smile back on my face. Never knew the lonely could walk away and die till you were by my side.
Is this rich country baritone. I mean, some of these, it doesn't have to be country music, but he, just a very rich baritone, and his sense of pitch is right on. I mean, he's got perfect pitch.
Andy was, oh my gosh, he was so little. He was probably 5 years old. And the Volunteers of America put together an Easter egg hunt for visually impaired children. They took these plastic eggs that were from the Legs pantyhose, and they put a beeper in them, sealed them, and then they didn't necessarily hide them. They didn't have to, but they put them all over I think it was a churchyard.
There would be a lot of beeping eggs, and you have to turn them off, and you put them in the bags. Beaver eggs could be some are cheap, some are more, and some are less. But God.
I'm following Andy around, and he'd go right to an egg, and he'd pick it up, and he'd go C, and he'd pick the next one up, and he'd say D, and he'd say A, and I'm looking around, and I'm going, I hope nobody else is watching this weird little kid going D, G.
Beep 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 beep. They make beeping sounds,
We had no idea what he was doing for several years after that.
Well, I could tell by different pictures of songs, and and with the sharps and the flats, with the majors and the minors, the intervals,
Then at the School for the Blind, they had a new music teacher who wanted to resurrect the marching band. There were all these instruments at the School for the Blind that hadn't been used in decades because they had just dropped the program. And so she resurrected the program, and all of the kids got to play different instruments and choose which instruments they really liked to play.
There are band directors who say we need this, and so I'm going to kind of lean you toward that. I never did that. The students picked their own. They tried everything, and so I worked with them individually, trying all the instruments there were, and they could choose.
He was really good at playing the sousaphone. That was the instrument that he played in the marching band. Now, Andy might have been 100 pounds, might have been, and he's carrying this great big tuba that's almost as big as he is.
Well, I did the baritone and the sousaphone in the Ohio State University Marching Band, and then I did the stand-up bass a little bit.
They find what works for them. So I didn't guide him in that. I simply gave him choices, and he went with what he had success with.
I did have him in bands, which was great. He could just sit down. He could just flat play the tuba, and provided a great foundation for the band.
I think a lot of it has to do with his ability to analyze music and to figure out the chords in music, and the bass line follows those so much.
He was always singing, humming, all these different things. And not only would he hum the lead parts of songs, but he would hum the bass line, or he would hum part of the accompaniment. So this is a kid who was listening to music kind of inside and out. He was, he's able to grasp everything that was going on in something that he heard.
And then when he was in the group Intervision with the other kids, our mom music director, not me, the other mom, decided that we needed to bring some instruments other than the keyboard in, so she decided Andy should play the bass.
Well, it was me, Sam, and Janine.
Well, I brought the piano, and Sam and Andy, they blended well with their voices.
Yeah. They were harmonizing, yes. Especially in Cavalier Stadium, the Cleveland Cavaliers, where LeBron and his teammates used to play.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming
We would do contemporary Christian, a little bit of country.
Performed all kind of music. We do like some oldies. We did, classical and patriotic, a little bit of country here and there. We also do some Christian songs.
Well, we would be at nursing homes and facilities. Sometimes children's hospitals. Different places around there.
We mainly played at like senior citizen places, or we also did Java Central when we first started.
And we'll drink to old Ohio till we wallow in our shoes. Ohio, Ohio.
When I first met them, there was no connection. I was, someone they didn't know, so it was all quiet. I'm thinking, uh-oh, what's going to happen here? And I walked them back to the microphones, and as soon as they got there, they turned into performers.
We're from Ohio, O-H! We're from Ohio, I-O! We don't give a darn for the whole state of Michigan, 'cause we're from Ohio.
The first time I saw him was right here at Java Central. He was with a group called Second Sight, and he was playing bass and singing. And I went, whoa, those guys are really good.
And who runs the jam sessions at Java Central?
Well, usually jam session guns, Mr. Morgan, the author and book writer, sometimes, and he's famous nowadays.
I think it was 2012, 2013, somewhere around there, he started coming to the jam. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You can play along with everyone. You can sing if you want. I have maybe 8 different microphones out to capture the different featured singers who have requested specific songs that they'll sing.
The fact is, there are such gifted musicians that are out there playing, and to hear them do what they do, I mean, it's magical. But there can be another kind of magic that's playing for people, playing in a living room, playing in a coffee shop. There's just all this, it's just something that is too important to be neglected.
Every maid says good careless about anything in my life till you were by my side.
I met Andy probably about 3 or 4 years ago here at the jam session. And he always blew me away because I said, man, how do you remember all those words?
He has been here forever. He's so loyal. He's also so good. And he's always a highlight.
In one sense, he's one of the guys. And in another sense, he's real special in that his musical abilities, his vocal and his bass playing, he brings that. And he's the kind of person that is mostly here all the time, but when he's not here, he's missed. And what he brings to the table is missed.
We're by my side.
But I remember the neonatologist pushing a cart with a TV on it into my room. The neonatologist pointed out absolutely everything that was connected to Andy's body and told me what that was all for. And he basically said, he's just small, he just needs to grow.
Well, to come home, he had to be over 4 pounds, at least over 4 pounds. And then I think there's other things, but I don't remember all that. But that was the big thing we were looking for. They didn't give us a whole lot of information when they sent him home. So it's just, do the best you can with what you knew. That's where Patty took over and just she would take no from an answer from anybody until, she found out what was going on. I wanted him to just be like any other kid. You heard all these people when he was little that they had a kid that was a preemie and he grew up to be 6 foot tall and all this kind of stuff. And I really didn't care about that. All I was caring about was, that he was healthy and, just try to do the things that you would normally do.
At that time, autism wasn't talked about. It really wasn't known about like it is now. Now it is this really hot topic, and kids are being screened all over the place, and it is really understood much more. And the interventions are also understood much more. Did I think maybe there was something else going on with Andy? Yes, but what that was, I don't think we really understood or knew why he reacted the way he did. His sensitivities to things, his noise in particular. He was very, very sensitive to sound.
At that, it's interesting. At that age, he really didn't want to me anyway, he didn't want to be around other people. He really enjoyed being by himself. He wanted to play by himself. His brother used to come in and kind of nitpick at him, and it was always go away, get out. I guess even at school, he was just kind of always by himself. He liked to know what the other kids were doing, and he could tell you always what the other kids were doing, but he didn't really want to be around other people or interact with them.
Well, a lot of kids who are blind also have difficulties because they have troubles monitoring really what is happening here, and then they often become a little fearful. Some kids really turn internally because they just got to shut it all out.
The other thing with Andy is he doesn't always tell you what he wants. He doesn't tell you when he's thirsty. He doesn't tell you when he has to go to the bathroom. He doesn't tell you any of these things. So when he actually does, I really try and act on that.
Sometimes you think, oh, well, he's just kind of babbling. But there is a lot of truth, and there is a lot of thinking going into that. He does that to kind of process things a lot of times.
When I go to ask him, like, do you want to do this or this? Or what restaurant do you want to go to? You don't get yes or no responses. It's normally in the form of a riddle.
He has a hard time just saying, are you married? Or do you have a boyfriend? And so he will say, oh, I bet your husband really likes you, or something like that. And that's his way of, I call it fishing. He's fishing for information. He wants to know a little bit about those people, about something personal about them. And generally it's family. We learned very early on that you don't ask a question that the answer is going to be yes or no. Not going to happen. You almost have to fish like Andy does.
You get used to it, I think, after a while. At first, sometimes I'll look at him and be like, buddy, I don't know what you're telling me. You gotta tell me again.
Yesterday.
I will remind her before she leaves next Wednesday.
Well, maybe sometime, but we need to end public violence in Capitol Hill right now.
What type of violence is going on at Capitol Hill? I missed
Well,
that.
some people are mad. Well, there could be people kind of getting
Everybody's always
argumentative
mad
about
on
what
Capitol Hill, buddy.
they're really mad about everything.
What do you got there, Andy?
The rumming on them.
Now, did you go to the blind school here in Columbus?
Yeah, high school line.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
When did you graduate?
In 2008, when the bankruptcy program started.
Oh, God. I actually graduated from there, honey, in 1965.
Wow, a long time ago. Andy's current communication style is actually so much better than it used to be. He's learned to speak in pretty much good sentence structure. He still has problems with asking questions. He's getting there. He's getting better at it, and I honestly think it's because of this sports talk radio that he listens to.
Well, what shows do you listen to on the radio?
On the fan days they have different things. They sometimes have Morning Juice, Bishop and Friends, and they would have Rothman and Ice, and they have Man and Bone. But you'll see sometimes, but they have On the Money. But there's on Sportsman Night with Greeny, Carlin versus Joe, Freddie and Harry, Amber and Ian, and Game Day. but there's sometimes game night. They're gonna have Aaron and Emmett.
He loves to listen to it on the radio, baseball and football and all that kind of stuff. And he doesn't follow anybody. He follows them all. He can find any night if there's something on, he'll find something on the radio.
The Lion. Yeah, there was a brawl in Giants and Lions camp that happened. Yeah.
Oh, really? Who started it? Did they say?
Well, unless the Giants, or unless one of the Giants players would have started, and then the Detroit player would have followed the fight. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to fight in football.
You were not supposed to fight in football. You're right. All right.
And I think that's when he decided to join the ranks of all the other men in the world who love sports. His dad and his brother love sports. I think he gets hyped up listening to the crowd, whether they were excited or whether he would call it sleepy, real quiet speaking people. And I really think that's what caught him. And then he just took it from there and absolutely loved going to the games.
And he got him. Root for the Clippers. If they don't win, it's a shame.
Let's hear ya.
It's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
All right, Andy, where are we today?
Well, we're at Huntington Park today.
And who are you cheering for?
Well, the Clippers. It's a brand new ball game right now.
How are they doing?
Well, half struggling and half not struggling right now. If they can get the ultimate sacrifice to score more runs and not give up runs.
Ooh, strike three.
Down by the bay.
Final score today's game. Columbus Clippers 60, Yale Club 3.
Wow, what a comeback.
I just felt that he needed to be in that class, in that school for the technology and all the things that he could, like he was in gym, he was in track, he swam, all of those things, he would have never gotten those in a regular Westerville school.
Well, technology, science, reading, math, English, history, even music there. But
The Ohio State School for the Blind has their own natatorium. They have a fabulous pool. That was part of the curriculum. They had marching band, they had choirs.
Well, phys ed and swimming and track and field. Wrestling was a hurting sport, so I decided not to do that anymore.
He didn't like wrestling because Andy's a lover, not a fighter, and he would flip over and just give up. So every opponent won, and so we just decided he doesn't really need to wrestle.
Well, it's hard to stay off your back at all times and getting choked, but you have to stay in your stomach the whole time,
I think Andy liked swimming best of all.
Well, the freestyle and the backstroke and the breaststrokes, and there could be butterflies and relays, just like being Michael Phelps and Katie Lovey Lady, and winning 4 gold medals. Michael Phelps is enjoying his retirement from the pool.
I really didn't get to know him until he was probably in 3rd grade. And we were using Braille and Speaks and Braille lights and things like that, the old note takers and things like that. He was fascinated with how technology worked and what technology could do. He used to do impressions of, the Braille and Speak when you would turn it on and what it would say, Braille and Speak ready, help now open or whatever.
You remember Mr. Kelly? Can you talk a little bit about Mr. Kelly?
Oh, it is a Southern Alabama accent. Being blind director saying percussion. You gotta keep the tempo. Keep it crisp and clean. Don't speed it up.
We were the first blind school marching band to go out and do a halftime show at a football game. Our signature was Script Braille, Ohio.
There's the bass section and the baritone section and the trombone section and then the E flat horn and then and the flugelhorns and the trumpets and the cornets and the percussion section.
And I used to go pick him up after school, and went to pick him one night, and the teacher said, "Would you want to help?" And I said, "What do you want me to do?" Well, you could be his guide.
Well, being marching assistant, he would hold on to me while I'm playing and marching at the same time.
So I just started helping with him all the time, and it was a lot of fun. I forget how many years we did it, 2 or 3, I think, and practiced marching and him playing different music and stuff like that.
Time that we went, we had enough money to go to the Rose Parade, to spend the weekend in Pasadena, participate in all the activities, and do the marching band competition there, and go to the Rose Bowl.
They got chosen to march in the parade, and it was fun that year because that was the year Ohio State went to the game.
Well, when we were playing Oregon and beat the crowd out of them,
He carried the tuba the whole time, and we marched over 6 miles, I think, in the parade that year. It was a lot of fun.
Ooh, a 6-mile march, and until my left knee started screaming. Geesh.
He finds a characteristic in someone, and it's very meaningful to him, whether it's a tone of voice or a smell of perfume or some way the person kind of acts, if they're a little more boisterous or a little quieter.
And I will look at Andy and say, "Andy, this is our waitress, and her name is June." And Andy will generally then take the J, and he will give June a nickname that starts with a J.
So her name is Debbie, who's
Debbie,
talking to you.
yeah.
Dancing Debbie.
And
Dancing
she
Debbie. I was
graduated
singing
from
Debbie. I sang a lot.
OSSB in 1965.
I mean, of course, his dad is the old man. His mom was Pretty Patty and now is Chatty Patty, I believe.
Chatty Patty, and called Dad the old man.
Don't you love to have somebody remember your name, or to tag something kind of neat to your name? Hopefully it's nothing a little kind of hokey or anything, but and that's very meaningful to him, and I think he gets kind of a response from it too.
Well, Andy had nicknames for everybody. Well, he called me Jazzy Janine. That's what his nickname was for me.
He's always called me that. He's always called me the blind Mr. Kelly or the blind band director or the blind Mr. Leather Arms, right? But he identifies with that very strongly with me because he's blind and I'm blind.
I don't have a nickname, and I really don't know what that says about me. I used to have a nickname. I used to be Jody Macaroni, and then I became Jazzy Jody. And then when I moved back, I lost my nickname. My husband's nickname is the Marine because he was in the Marines. Some days he changes it to the soccer refereeing Marine since my husband has started reffing soccer.
He always knows me by Enthusiastic Mike. So it just makes me happy to see Andy every day.
Why do you think he calls you Enthusiastic Mike?
Because I'm loud.
He calls me Miss Vanilla Lotion, and actually my husband he calls Mr. Vanilla Lotion. He gave that to me because I wear this Vanilla Bean Noel lotion, so I am Vanilla Lotion. I don't even know if Andy remembers my name is Carol.
The vanilla lotion.
Come on, Mr. Muscle Andy.
Yeah.
What's the song of the day, buddy?
Yeah, Mr. Vanilla Lotion was in the gym one time. Couldn't see Uncle Ron anyway. Yeah, what Annie's old country boy do? Did it again. Shame on you, Luke Bryan. Him and his 4 buddies.
Remember, you remember Rob that plays guitar with you guys when you do the thing at the
jam session, Rob?
Yeah. You know Rob who plays electric guitar, he's really good. He used to work at Otterline. He had major neck surgery. He had a fusion too, so he's recuperating.
He loves it there, and he knows the people, and he listens to the people. And when he talks to people there, he gets their names. Then everybody's got a nickname with him. And
Church.
Oh, Vanilla Lace.
Yeah, there you
I haven't heard from you for so long.
Well, I've been here, and
Well-
I go to church. I see you.
Hopefully that back ears is not hurting you. It's a good thing it's not
Well,
trying to.
no, it is. I didn't get to go to church for long because I couldn't sit in the pews. but-
Sometimes you do, sometimes
Yeah,
you
it
don't.
hurts.
But
It hurts.
He has developed so many wonderful friendships with people from the community center. No matter where we go in Westerville or even sometimes in Columbus.
Andy.
the vanilla or sweaty
I
suit.
don't have the muscles Dave's got. Like he's that fluffer.
You should.
You see my muscle? I do got a big one. I'll let you feel my big muscle.
Ooh, a big muscle.
He has just been completely ingrained in the community.
he's either singing or he's got something to say. He's always in a good mood.
Skip across the ocean, tra-la-la-la-la. Skip across the ocean, tra-la-la-la-la. Skip across the ocean, tra-la-la-la-la. She looks like a sugar in the bum bum bum.
Hey, we're gonna do 11, 9, 10, and last one all the way back to my hand. Make it big. You got it. There you are, Andy.
It is I, the Count. I love to count things. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes you walk, you walk around the truck, and one side of the truck is cold, the other side is hot, and sometimes you can smell the eggs and the taco smell.
We did have a lot in common in terms of talking about what we do to stay in shape, because Andy's real big into lifting weights. So he was back then.
Physical fitness is extremely important for all of us, right? Blind or sighted or whatever, but certainly for individuals who are blind, because they probably aren't necessarily just on their own, always moving around.
Well, sometimes after walking and lifting, you would swim, and sometimes you could do Raffi and Rosenschant stuff, and you do walk the line stuff and Sound of Music and sometimes 50s and 60s stuff.
But as far as doing things that are difficult or whatever, I mean, he'll just go full bore.
Alright, Andy. Last one here.
The trumpeting John.
brings just an infectious enthusiasm to everything that he's a part of. His kindness, his enthusiasm, his faith, his joy, his sense of wonder, so many special gifts that he shares, and we're better for it, and we're blessed to have him as a member of our community.
Andy picks things up really quickly. He's got a really good ear, he has a really good memory, and so the learning process for him is a lot quicker than actually what it would be for others. He's a really strong base. He's accurate, he's on time, he's always there, he's always at the right place, and I'm very thankful he's in the group.
So I'm basically just working to help Andy know when the conductor is telling us to cut off the music or start up the music. So sometimes we like to vary the speeds, even one time to another. So
he's there. I think it adds a lot. And, the few times where everybody has a life and isn't able to make every single week, but sometimes there's a noticeable difference when he's not there. Patty's done a lot of work, and so have a lot of other people, and all I wanted to do was be there to, just to help out, just like any dad would do.
His sense of humor, I haven't even mentioned that yet, but sometimes I just go, oh my gosh, he's got that love sense of humor. He does. I mean, it is just amazing how he comes up with things. And he laughs because he realizes it was funny, so it really is a joke.
He's just so caring. He really is. He cares that he doesn't want to hurt your feelings. And with that, with his sense of humor, like I could be having the worst day ever, and just seeing him or getting an email from him, it just makes your day better and makes you happier. But he really does care about others and wants to make sure that they are happy.
Oh, that was the time. You got me good. Okay.
I baptize you by the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Andy, what do you think of that goat? Oh, it's kind of a little tiny a little bit. Teeny tiny. Kevin, you're what the French call that's in Kevin, I'm going to feed you to my tarantula. Kevin, you are such a disease. There are 15 people in this house, and the only one who has to make sure. Beep.